Hello, good evening. You're watching the Policy Times Unleashing India Global Web Summit series, one of the Policy Times core series where we discuss about the development agenda of the country and how we achieve national reincarnation with the world-renowned experts with the background from India. Now, today, as we are talking, IT is there are two aspects that we are discussing today. One is startup and entrepreneurs, and the second is IT infrastructure. IT is the backbone of business and society. Post COVID, we have realized, though we used to use a lot of technological stuff, but we could not realize the importance of technology in our life. Post COVID, the importance of technology in our life has multiplied and changed. The approach, attitude towards technology incorporation in our business, in our social life, economic life has changed. Now, while that is one aspect, the other aspect is startup and entrepreneurs are the backbone of the society, and they are the future. Here, there are a couple of challenges that startups face. We know very well that 95% startups fail within 5 years of their business. We are also a startup. This is our fourth year, and after long and hard struggle, we are little more stable in the business. What we realized initially, I'm just giving a small example of buying computers and laptops for your own office. If you do not have right information, then there are a lot of money you lose on your IT infrastructure. For example, we bought one big computer which cost us almost 1,10,000. Later we realized with the same combination and same measurement of a laptop or a computer, we could assemble it at 10,000. Lot of money means we could have had 6 or 7 or 10 such lab systems with that same amount of money. This is just one small example. The second thing is, this is also an era where you need to scale up your business. Now, a startup cannot hire 100 or 200 people at the initial stage. But what it can do, it can use technology to get the job done of 100% in your business. For example, you don't need 100 people in 10 different countries. You can use technology to scale up. How we can use IT infrastructure and how we can scale up our business through IT, I think would be a very important thing that we can learn from our experts who are joining us today. This program is chaired by Dr.P.Sekhar, who is chairman of Unleashing India and Global Smart Cities panel. He's also one of the instrumental pillar of the Policy Times in terms of taking or the Policy Times growth agenda forward, and he has been guiding the Policy Times in various ways and aspects. Without taking any more time, a couple of questions that I just shared, I want to hand over the floor to Dr. P.Sekhar to kindly take over the session further.
Thank you, Akram. We started off in a very low key. Today we are nearing 100 in terms of the series of programs for national reincarnation. Now, national reincarnation, we are calling it because from a national growth after the COVID really attacked the World War III, as we call it, without weapons, without soldiers, without real, people crossing into each other's territory. It has crossed into everybody's home. It has crossed into everybody's mind more than the home. So I have 1 or 2 slides on COVID also. So what I'm going to do is I will run through a small presentation giving the significance of today's topic, and then give it to the experts today for the full-fledged talk. As you can see, the topic is enhanced role of startup, entrepreneurs, and IT. These are 3 important words coming in picture today. Why these 3 important terms are there? Yeah, the terms are that startup has to be finally an entrepreneur when he has to grow. He cannot keep on being a startup. And IT infrastructure can make a huge dent in the growth of the startup. And IT infrastructure is a facilitating system which will have its own role. Now, as we talk, one standard slide which I generally present everywhere is the complexity of being India. India is almost 206 countries put together. It has got a land to the tune of almost 2.9 million square kilometers. It has got water, almost whatever we require is there, and it has got a coastline of 7,500 kilometers, and so many states, so many districts, so many languages, culture, you name it, we have got everything in abundance except growth. Growth we have been very, very low, having passed through a grim past after a very, very glorious past at the background. COVID, as you know, it has attacked 0.8% of India. Out of it, 98% of them have recovered, and still it has really brought down every aspect of the Indian life. Okay. So we have to analyze why it is happening that way, and why are we so much, paranoid, and at the same time, why can't we do something to make the economy grow? So in this series, we are trying to say that independent of COVID, we have to keep growing, because we got a huge commitment to keep with 1.4 billion people waiting to be fed every day. And every year we are growing at the rate of almost 20 million people. 20 million people is very, very large number, which have to be taken care. And of course, one of the participants today is in UK. Like that, we have got almost 25 million people abroad who are doing their best for the country, which also we will touch upon today. Now, startup has its own very, very big importance. In this, entrepreneurship and startup plays a complementary role for the growth, because startup is the one which just takes an idea and tries to make something livelihood for themselves, and some better items to be supplied to the world around. So again, as I said, next few slides, I'm just going to only touch the topic, but not the contents. In global economic startup system, we are now started appearing as one of the important countries. And even as a country, we have got a lot of unicorns which are there, which we were not famous in growing in the industrial sector till a few years back. Now we are making our own influence. As we all know, today we are almost fifth largest economy in the world. And we were all languishing at a very, very backyard till a few years back. So startup is coming up like a wave in India. Many of the youngsters, many of the colleges and all teach what is startup and entrepreneurship. Encourage people to be there. Encourage people not to be afraid of failure, because in startup, very small fraction actually succeeds. But others need not be worried, because there is always they can go for a job. There's nothing to job is not anything inferior. In all these things, where today's combination of topic we have selected, IT plays a very dramatic and important role. Without IT, startups of any nature, somebody could be a startup in even healthcare, somebody could be a startup in agriculture, somebody could be a startup in food. IT plays a role, in delivery system, in planning system, in synergizing system. Like Akram said, even if you want to develop a vendor in other places, IT plays a role. Now here we are all in touch together because of IT. We are able to talk. We are able to we have one guest from Chennai, one guest in Delhi, one in Bombay, and one in London. We are able to talk seamlessly. That is what is the significance of the word IT. And IT has got its own, evolution, and it has started off at a very, very different key almost 60 years back, and now it is just ruling all of us in whatever thing we do. So I will rush through the other slides. This will be available on the net, so we would like to give maximum time to our speakers today. So India has got a huge value proportion in IT front, because India is considered to be the superpower of IT. Just for information, I was the creator of Software Technology Park in India, and I know I only coined the word that India is a superpower for IT. And the superpower for IT is a very big dimension, and we are doing justice to it. In many large multinationals have got India as the number one place in which number of people employed are high, and they are all very, very happy with the way Indians perform. Now, secure governance is something which I like to spend half a minute on. This is for a self-sustained, seamless growth through value and valuation. And why I'm also spending little time on this is because this takes care from IT point of view. When IT and infrastructure starts going up, the valuation goes up. The valuation gives back to the system value, so that your infrastructure can grow much, much faster, much, much more defined, and much, much more planned, and failure almost becomes non-existent. So that's what is secure governance, and it is going on in very, very large projects. Now let me directly come to today's speakers. We have two speakers. One is Farsu Contractor. Farsu, his actual name is Parshuram. Okay, very dynamic person from India. He has gone to UK almost 42 years back. He has gone to UK. He is the chairman of UK-based Metrosys Group, which is a specialist services in IT. And he is more Indian than all of us. He comes every year once or twice to India. He makes his own presence felt for various Indian companies. He helps them to grow to Europe, of course, UK, where he is there. And he also facilitates many companies in their expansion, many companies in diversification, and also as a person from UK, he tries to get the UK portion of it properly ITized, in terms of their own modernization. Also, he helped many UK companies. Second is our Bala Yogi. He is a very multifaceted expert. He even knows, Sanskrit and so many things. And he's also a very big expert in cybersecurity and any aspect of IT. He is a master, and he also encourages many companies for being startup. Many mentors many youngsters, and he is also involved in many nation building activities. He would give a flow of his own thoughts. He is giving a dramatic presentation actually. So I'll request Farsu Contractor to begin by giving his version, his view for next 10 minutes, including his personal growth. And then we will come to the presentation of Bala Yogi. Mr. Farsu Contractor.
Hi, everybody. This is Farsu from UK, London. Thanks for giving me opportunity to utilize this platform. In UK, actually, the India point has developed in a different way. I will just take you a little bit of background. Since in 2007, the UK was struggling going through the very severe recession. And during that time, Tata came and he took over the British Steel, the Coral Steel, and he saved nearly 4,000 to 6,000 jobs. At that point of view, the whole scenario, the attitude towards the Indian community of the local British people and British government was changed. Because most of the people, they think that we are here to grab their jobs. But the Tata walked in and they proved that we are here to do the business and create the jobs and protect your jobs. And that's how the whole scenario was changed. Plus, there is another gentleman called Lakshmi Mittal. He was on the rich list for the Times magazine for at least good 5 years. And so that everything improves our image in UK for the Indian community and Indian businesses as a whole. So there are lots of opportunity for us to move forward from here. And there are in the public sector, there are jobs for the private sectors, and many more. And many people are working from India according to the time zone of the UK. Plus, many people are working as a contractor in the UK itself. They comes in time to time on certain visas, etc. And they work and are getting the good thing for our country. When it comes to startup, the Indian companies, whoever wants to penetrate into the UK, I think because of our because of our history of 250 years with Britain, if you want to penetrate into Europe, Britain is the gateway. UK is the gateway for us to penetrate into the rest of the Europe. Now, though we are not in a part of the EU, but still the relationship and all the channels and pipelines are very strong. The undercurrents are very strong. And UK is the country where we can have a very good platform to take it off. And UK government has got lots of scope, lots of incentive for Indian companies to come and start up. So many companies are already here, and there are some people. There is one startup company which called Sitcom, which is run by our Indian lady, and my daughter was involved in it. and she was on the director board of the sitcom, and she was appointed by Hungarian company startup, and many things can be done onto that. And so the message is if we want to start up, we have to approach the UK way, and we had to change slightly our mindset. When we are abroad, we had to look with not only talk with their language, but we had to start thinking according to their way of lifestyle and business. And once you get here, once you get startup, all the banks and other private investors are also available for the startups. And once you get the platform, the sky is the limit. There's a lots of things can be done, and through Britain, you can even reach not only to EU, you can also reach to Norway, Nordic division, and also the US as well, and Latin America. So I think the UK has got a lot of things to offer, providing we play our part right in the right direction, and we can move forward from there. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the good beginning, Mr. Contractor. Now, let me go to Mr. Yogi. Mr. Yogi has got a presentation, and as I described, he is a versatile person with various capabilities in various dimensions of India's growth, his own personal addiction to good planning. I would like him to start a little with his own introduction, whatever he may like to say, and the presentation. You can do it now. Mr. Yogi.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Sekhar. It was nice talking to you, Mr. Farsu and Akram, and it is a privilege and pleasure to participate in Policy Times programs because they have been conducting very progressive and positive programs for the past 1 year consistently. Now, let me get into the subject directly. Okay. Shall I?
Yeah.
Fine, good. Now, just this. Now, is it visible?
Yeah, fully visible.
Okay, fine. No, whenever I want to evaluate any subject or topic or event, two authors come to my mind, both in terms of the evaluate properly, proper perspective, both in the context of the topic as well as the prevailing situation all around. One is Nazim Talib, who describes, who labels a phenomenon as a Soviet Harvard illusion, which he describes as lecturing birds on flight and thinking or presuming that their lecture enabled the skills of the birds at flight, which is a very ridiculous presumption. Then another extraordinarily scholarly British author, Matt Ridley, who describes very lucidly everything evolves through changes, and thus changes are inevitable, we all know, and these changes are incremental, inexorable, spontaneous, and gradual, but they happen through interactions of millions in all realms, not by the designs of few or by the plans from a few. So this is a very basic fundamental fact that in any realm we need to bear in mind that changes do happen and they happen through the interaction of millions. Then jumping onto the Indian context, there are two activities which are very successful business models, but very popular also among all Indians, cutting across religions, caste, political ideology, regional, linguistic barriers. I hope all of the viewers would have guessed it by now, it's nothing but IPL and Bollywood. Because if they have grasped something known as the collective psychology of the Indian culture, besides, of course, a lot of business practices that they have implemented there to ensure that it is run as a successful business model. It will be very easy to take a very fancy or friends popular, catchy terminology and then say it's a teamwork. If teamwork works for IPL and Bollywood, why the teamwork doesn't work for other fields or other domains, other institutions? Of course, there are one or two good big corporates as well as a few institutions which also have such successful models. But then it is not merely teamwork. It is something more than a teamwork, because teamwork works, it should work everywhere. It would be then from here, I would like to go to another aspect, which is we need to think that it will be what I say, both a cliche as well as a careless statement if I say that crisis throws opportunities. But the fact is, especially when so many people are still struggling to come out of the COVID impact. However, this COVID has rather hastened and thrown opportunities, because the disruptions that COVID has caused were awaiting to happen actually, though not in the negative impact also, which the collateral damage it has done to the human life, almost like a third world war. Without that, these disruptions in terms of using excess use of technology-based learning, technology-based treatment of healthcare, technology-based impartation of education, so many things were awaiting to happen, though these disruptions are envisaged. In fact, I wrote about this even in 2019 in my blogs, the disruptions are waiting to happen, but I never thought that it will be with a disaster as well. So, for any successful and sustainable business model or economic development, which fortunately, a trajectory which fortunately the present government is focusing and prioritizing, and the entire globe is also prioritizing on that, because everybody wants an economic development which is also sustainable and successful. For that, beyond teamwork, beyond all the normal things of business, I feel that we need four bosses. By four bosses, I don't mean anybody. The boss I use as an acronym, BOSS. These four letters refer to four different words, and each word is impregnated with a lot of meaning. First boss is blossoming opportunities support system. It could be innovation incubation centers or startup funding or microfinance, or more importantly, insurance, because businesses need some protection. So insurance people normally in India have a concept called BOP, Business Owners Policy, which I feel even by name is a very narrow thing, because business is not owned by a few. Everybody who is part of the business is a owner of a business. So even the promoter, once he promotes a business, it's the directors, the professional executives, the employees of various cadres, and staff of various cadres who run the business along with the shareholders, investors, and so many other people. That is why even the Companies Act, which is the most exhaustive act in India, which emphasizes on defining so many terminologies, define the term proprietor, promoter itself just in 2012 or 2010 through an amendment, somewhere around after the 472nd page or something like that. And that was, of course, inserted for different purpose. But till then, even there was not even a definition for promoter. So that is the scenario. So that being the case, doesn't mean that businesses don't have insurance. Businesses have three very vital and excellent insurance, which are not publicized much nor are promoted much. They are, one is business interruptions insurance. Business get interrupted due to any natural calamity, burn, hartal, strike, blockage, so many activities. So that time business has to be kept afloat and has to ensure that it is running up and smooth. And there is another thing called as business income insurance, which ensures that the business is able to make payments to multiple vendors that is due from the business during the temporary lockdown or shutdown of business. And the third insurance is accounts receivable insurance, which is the payments that are getting deferred or delayed from various entities to the business are also compensated by the insurance. This is the first boss. So once the business opportunity is grabbed and it is protected financially. We have the second boss, which is bolstering operations security system. This is what Mr. Farsu is and Mr. Dr.P.Sekhar are keen on looking at. So this is, see, if technology is the universal religion today and the gadgets are the gods, the most sacred and esoteric aspect of this religion is security. And this to reach this sacred or sanctified state of this religion, it also requires a lot of steps and layers. One of these few steps is threat perception, vulnerability assessment, then protection, then leading to cyber security. And in cyber security also, there is a component of both hardware and software. And this has to be tailor-made to the domain for which it is offered or the organization which requires it to ensure that there is an adequate and a delicate balance is maintained between the required privacy as well as the transparency. Both are required. So both has to be delicately balanced. And you must also ensure that it is cost effective, that the trade-off and cost of the utility that the security provides is affordable by everybody. The third boss is the most important boss, that is business operators synergy syndicate. So once the opportunity is grabbed and the security is in place for the technology, all the different operators of business, starting from people with the skill sets, technological skills, manufacturing facilities, investors, fund management companies, shareholders, and the institutions which help encourage, monitor, and regulate the business to ensure that they don't get into unwanted legal tangles or unwanted legal troubles. All these multiple uh, entities will have to get synergized to ensure that the business takes off without any hassle on any aspect. Then the fourth boss, once the opportunity is grabbed, the security is in place, the synergy is also taken. The fourth boss is business operations sustaining systems. Once everything is in place, it has to be sustained. So for sustaining this, we need an ecosystem where we have processes, procedures, systems, and schemes, policies, as well as regulatory authorities, and infusion of frequent funding, domain-specific frequent funding for certain businesses, plus a coordination of multiple agencies to ensure that the ecosystem sustains a business which has come through so much of difficulty. Why we are looking into all these things in such a manner? So I have just given the presentation itself as a Vidya in 7 colors. Okay, the last color I'll come to. It is because we need new prisms to see the present day world. Okay, especially the present day world's dynamics and dimensions of its geo-economics and socio-political dynamics, which defy all existing definitions and explanations and all the types of boundaries of functions, and wherein we cannot afford to defy or deny the importance of anything. The present day economics is really very, very pleasant, and the trends are extremely useful, extremely colorful, but at the same time, they are extremely complex and uncertain. It is like a monkey having a kaleidoscope in his hand. You keep on changing the pattern, but you don't know what pattern you are going to get next. If you add the digital technology and the cyber security related, it becomes like a monkey sitting inside a kaleidoscope. The colorful patterns will come, but you don't know whether the kaleidoscope itself will be there or it will collapse. So that is the situation with which the economics of the present day world are there. Added to this, if you add the politics of international geopolitics, then the businesses become like a trapezium artist swinging between the rope and hope, where the fall can be incidental, accidental, or it would be just to create a sensationalism, things like that. So this new prism is required. So I have given a presentation in one slide so that it is much easier for everyone to remember. And number one, the outer side is the basic fact that change is inevitable. Evolution operates through change in all realms of life, irrespective of whatever realm we are in. So we need to take that factor into account and also grasp the pulse of the collective psychology, as Mr. Farsu said, we must not only try to think in terms of offering businesses and funds, we should also get into the mindset of the British way of functioning. So everywhere this getting into the mindset of the collective mindset of the whole people, because everywhere there is some identity where there is a collective mindset. Whether we want it or we wish it or it's right or wrong, it is there. So we cannot deny that. So that is very important factor which IPL and Bollywood are examples. And then the four bosses briefly and over generically gives you the format. And then the another fact, the find core is also again a fact as to how the modern economics and the modern the politics of international politics operate. So with this, I would like to conclude. And I would also like to say a few words about the topic. It is not merely a reincarnation. Reincarnation in the sense it is a renewed regeneration of resurgence of Indian economy, because Indian economy is always lively. The resources are enormous in India, whether it is in terms of skill sets of the people or the age, demography of the age of the population, or even the natural resources. Everything is in abundance. Only thing is the proper utilization and optimum utilization is missing. So that is where I think there should be the third boss is very, very important, which is business operators synergies indicate. There should be multiple platforms where the senior people who have done put in a lot of experience like Dr.P.Sekhar or Farsu to act as enablers where they connect people. For example, Farsu can connect some investor, Dr.P.Sekhar can connect some technological experts, like that, so that there is a synergy that takes place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bali. Your Bala plus Yogi combination of.
No, actually, my original name was Karthikeyan.
Okay.
I changed it in 2000.
Karthikeyan is a very devastating name in terms of.
No. Actually, I changed it in because somebody said I changed it, and people asked me why you chose this name. I said you can identify the name very easily by saying I look youthful, though I'm 60. So Bala means youth. Yogi means wisdom. Either I disperse wisdom or I listen to wisdom. So wisdom has to be part of my life. So I said about it.
Are we allowed to call you Mr. Yogi?
Yeah, okay, you are. So the best part is once on a flight in France, via France, the person called me as Bala Yogi.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on where you combine what part of the world.
Yeah.
Very true. And it's so nice that it was very well presented, and the fact that
I will send you the detailed presentation of this everything.
Yeah. No. You would have one more second round. At the time, you can also explain. And now before coming to, of course, Mr. Farsu, it is nice to see that we as Indians, like what Mr. Bala says, that we have got everything, and maybe we have nothing by some people's idea, but as we are all optimists, we are all people who would like to have something good for us, good for the world. And we would like to see what are the good to be done, because today the world's expectation is India. India is the center of the world in terms of its expectations. India has a long way to go to satisfy the expectation. If you meet anybody abroad, except Chinese, they would like to see India in its contributing India in knowledge, in terms of technology, in terms of scientific background, in terms of Ayurveda, in terms of our historical and old things which are all extremely liked by the world. So they all would like them to be revived. Today, in many in USA, now they do research on India's Vayuvahan. How could India talk of something similar to aeroplanes almost 10,000 years back, when the whole world was in prehistoric, in medieval time? So it is something which is, of course, not to be answered in this today's forum, because I'm not having that as a discussion. But since we are talking of startup, and since we are talking of entrepreneurship and startups have to know all these things before they get into the world of technology. And people like Farsu and people like Bala, they are all encouraging many people. Farsu is doing phenomenal job sitting in UK, trying to bridge India versus UK. See the past. Britishers were ruling India for almost 200 years. Today, in British cabinet, some of the topmost cabinet ministers are Indians. Okay, this also goes to the credit of Britishers thinking. We should not only think of the negative thing they did. Yes, they did a lot of negative things, but those all have to be forgotten. They were all done by somebody else. As much as we can blame their parents having done, we also blame our parents for being ready to be subjugated. So there should be no animosity. But same time, they are allowing us to come. They are allowing us to expand. They are allowing us to this. There's always a little bitterness. That is between even between two brothers. So, and the most dramatic and dynamic thing is that some of the highest paid people in Britain are Indians. Some of the richest Hindujas, Mittals, all those people are Indians, and they are not seeing this in any negative way, and they are welcome, and many more who are budding and coming up. Of course, we as Indians look at life far above the GDPs and far above the bank balances. We as Indians look at happiness index. We as Indians look at various aspects in which the human life can grow. So we would like to see that it is put in a proper perspective. So in the second portion of our talk, I would like Mr. Farsu to come to today's post-COVID. Post-COVID, the whole world has changed. Post-COVID, the expectations are different. These technologies were there even 10 years back. Even in last year, we didn't use this technology in terms of having a video conference. Video conference means we used to go to each place, go to the thing. Many times it will be so embarrassing. Go almost 4 hours in a flight somewhere, this and address somebody where there are 200 people sitting in front. Today in the same web summit, almost every week twice, we are addressing more than 500 people. We are addressing maybe 1 lakh people after the summit. So these are all something which is available not because of you or me, because of technology. And because that's why we are also using the technology in the form of the word IT and startup and entrepreneurship as somebody who can play a dramatic and dynamic role in every sectors of life. So in the second phase, I would like Mr. Farsu to touch upon COVID and post-COVID, what his expectation. And the last, of course, we would like to have 2 minutes on each before concluding. Mr. Farsu.
Hi. Thanks, Sekharji. Post-COVID is a turning point for everybody. And internet is not born yesterday. It has been there for the last 30, 40 years. And all the companies, if it is a public sector, private sector, or hospitals, or small people, everybody is using the internet. But since the COVID started, the pandemic started, globally, it's not the individual, some countries are involved, not up to the certain part of the world. But the whole world is involved in it. And because of that, the many people used to deal on the internet, buying and selling and conferencing. But since the pandemic, the traffic of the internet has gone multifold. It has gone so many multifold. But all this in softwares and hardwares, everything cannot cope with the extra traffic. Now it has become a real chasing our own tail, like it. So if your website is not strong enough to take extra pressure on it, so what it does, it will not function. So everybody has to upgrade their application, upgrade their platform, write up the new software and everything else. And for that, there is a one company in India, which is our channel partner, called Strategility, and they have a good, fantastic program written on it. And this gentleman, he is based out of Chennai, and he is suppose if you have to write a software, it takes sometimes nearly 12 months, 14 months by writing, testing, reinventing, everything else. But he has developed a platform called low-code platform. A low-code platform, by using that one, it cuts down the time limit. something which is going to take place about 14 months, he can finish the job within a 5 to 6 months. And we have all the skills in-house to do that job. And plus, if something is done within a half time, that reduce the cost of the technicians and software engineers and everybody else. So that is also very cost effective. So India has done very good job. The only company in market is a ServiceNow who has got a similar platform. They are the market leader. But compared to our solution, they are much expensive. So this is the one product which we have and we are marketing, and that is going reasonably well at the moment. The secondly, we have another OEM partner. They are based out of MP, Indore, and she is a lady, very dynamic, and she is from the Mumbai IIT, and she has developed certain programs which can be used for the smart cities and car parking, traffic control, and so many others. And her program, especially in a COVID, so whenever you go to mall or something like that, somebody has to stand with the temperature gun and use the temperature and dictate that are you COVID infected or not, this and that. She has developed a program. You just have to walk it, and it will tell you, it will measure your temperature and everything automatic. Nobody has to be standing there to keep testing your temperature, etc. Our program is so effective that there is some of the malls in India, they are using this her program, so people can just walk in and walk out. It's like automatic scanning at the airport. And at the moment, they are in a talk with the very, let me say, it's a Bombay airport. They are looking into her program, and her program is going to be deployed at Mumbai airport, so people can not only the security, but apart from security, the COVID issue and everything can be done at once. So these are the technologies, and these technologies are needed globally. We can imagine how big the scope is. You can take this one to rest of the world. We are also talking to somebody with her program in Brazil and Peru, and also in Ghana and Jamaica. They are also looking for the her program, and very shortly we're going to break through onto that one. Thirdly, the cybersecurity is also very talk of the town because some of the hackers and all those people, they have made this particular topic very viable. So we got a cybersecurity program which can handle from traffic to the cameras and command and control center and everything we have in a place. So that we are also in talking with some countries in country like Mongolia and Finland. We are talking to, and also lastly there is another program. It's a hospital management. The hospital management program, one of our OEM partner has developed. That program will take care of from the patient walking into the hospital, registering his or her name, right up to the billing. In between, all this medicine and scanning and everything is covered. And that program is very effective. And we have offered that program in Nigeria. And they are looking into, and we are almost 50% there to tie up the programs as well. So there are lots of opportunity, and the advantage is that we have all the technology and everything in a place. But we just have to have a right approach. And today is the time that we can make it or break it, or we will definitely make it. Yes, for sure. So this is what is happening now. And then lastly, the, these programs are working today in certain places, and they have given a good, very good case study. Like there was a one company in Singapore, it was a hedge fund, and they had spent tremendous amount of money to improve their software to cope with the extra traffic. They spent tremendous amount of money, but they couldn't do it. They spent almost more than $100,000 to do that job, but they were still falling short. In the end, our OKR system facility, they came into touch with these people and they finished the job within 5 months, and the total bill was less than $50,000. And now we are the main support team of that hedge fund company. This is what is happening now. And that's the way we had to move forward from. So whatever we had to synchronize, we had to get together, and how we can represent our team. It's like there's a small joke about, you must have heard of it. The president of US keep asking Bill Gates, why are you employing all these Indians there? Why don't you get some local American working for you? And Bill Gates says, if I don't employ Indian, there will be the Microsoft made in India. So this is the fact of the life, and this is what we can do. And we have a huge scope. We have a right the government policy in the place as well in back home, so we can make use of that one, and the opportunity is in our hand. The world is oyster. Now it's up to us to take it forward.
Very good, very good, very good, very good. So here, as per Farsu, here are Indian companies who are doing their work in India. And here is a person with a 42 years experience, Indian sitting in London, offering it to the world. What better can be for startups and wanting to expand. So many companies, and I'm sure there are many Farsis in UK and other places who would obviously be missing. And the example which he gave, that if others don't employ India, India itself will make all others, and India does everything above board, nothing copying the way the other country does. So I would like to come back to Mr. Bala Yogi. Yes, he did talk about how India's Bollywood and cricket are one of the two biggest of the big. Today, no more is Hollywood the biggest in the world. Biggest in the world is, and we used to have so many other sports coming in the, all are overtaken by cricket in terms of numbers, in terms of revenue figures, in terms of its audience viewing, in terms of the TRPs. In all aspects, they are either on par or they are number one. So if they can succeed, why not others? Now, why not we ourselves have success in other parts of the technology, not from the point of view of bringing down somebody else, in parts in terms of expanding into the free domain which is available. So how would you take this further? This is what I would like Mr. Bala Yogi to start this second small session. 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. See, so I will share this PowerPoint later on.
Yeah.
See, the issue
no,
is
you can share. You can share. There's no problem. That much time is there.
I think some glitches are there. Okay. I think some glitches are there.
Yeah. Or
It's okay.
Just
So the issue is, I was telling about the collective psychology. See, in India, everything is about variety. Everything is about a lot. See, nowhere in the world you will have a lunch plate with 40 different dishes as you see our thalis. in Gujarati thalis and Rajasthani thalis. And even the breakfast, we have idli, dosa, puri, so many varieties. So the variety is the spice of not only life, it is the dice of life of India's dynamics. So this, if you take any film anywhere in the world, if there's a crime thriller, you will not have a hero or a villain dreaming about his lover, having one song sequence and wonderful singers rendering those songs, and there won't be one irrelevant sidetrack of humor and irrelevant sidetrack of some masala dance, everything. So what they see is sab cheez ko thoda thoda usme kuch bhi nahi choda. So that is one popular saying that they have in Bollywood. So everything is there in a package, and with all these things, the crime thriller, before even killing the villain, the hero will give a sermon also, a very philosophical sermon as to how he should behave in the society, why he's getting revenge for, why he's getting punished and all that. So this is the type of psychology that we have. So what this IPL and Bollywood do, Bollywood I've just mentioned, IPL has taken all the various dimensions of sports, and it has made sports into a very successful business. See, it is not only about the T20 or the speed at which the game is, but the accessories to the thing, like cheerleaders, which was there only in the European League and all that. The moment we do it much better than anybody else in the world. That is what one thing we'll have to learn. As Farsu correctly said, if we start doing things seriously, we'll do much better than anybody else. He was telling about hospital thing. I know one company in Bangalore which is being hired by the company which provides platform for even Netflix, called it MD in Australia and Malaysia. They have got they provide the hospital software in such a way that if Dr.P.Sekhar's records are there in Mumbai, while traveling in Dubai, he has got a problem. He walks into the hospital, just gives his Aadhaar and his name, his entire history of medication, where he went, what treatment he had, what are the latest diagnoses that he had. Everything is there on paper. So that is the type of programs that we have in India. Similarly, when it comes to cyber security, to be honest, most of the people who are operating in that field suffer from varying degrees of ignorance rather than accurate and proper knowledge. That is why the cyber security, despite all the cyber security gadgets and cyber security skills and people and all that, still there is a vulnerability and a penetration. Of course, as Chesterton says, the thief is a creative genius and detective is at best an analytical critic. So the thieves will always find a way, but our security system should be foolproof. In the sense, the security aspect, most of the people think only in terms of hardware, but there is a software aspect also to the security. Both hardware and software combo has to be the security aspect. That's it. I will give the presentation later on.
Okay, sir. So now coming to the final 2 minutes each. Mr. Farzu, what is your concluding statement from the point of view of a successful Indian in US, in UK, and in terms of how do you think Indians abroad have to play their own role, how you are playing and how others can play the role, and how it should be complemented by a good Indian system, which would ensure that when somebody is ready to give, they are ready to take, and somebody is ready to give from here, these Indians are ready to progress there. It is a complementing thing. It is not a question of I give, you take, or you give, I take. It will never succeed. Because both are successful in their own way. Both have made their own contributions to the to India's growth. People in like you and all have contributed heavily in the growth of the country where you are all there. As you all know, this 25 million Indians like you who are abroad, they constitute almost a $1 trillion economy, which is very, 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 very good from any angle, because this includes the sweeper in Heathrow Airport as much as it includes people who are CEOs of some of the largest companies in the world. So there is a huge way in which Indians are contributing. In that, where I am linking today's topic is startup and entrepreneurs would play a very great role, very great role. So if a startup may even be a startup for, when I say cleaners, they would offer the cleaners to them. It could be a startup which will be taking care. You can imagine even a spacecraft tomorrow, NASA's next program can be another startup sitting and, guiding engineers. In fact, 2 weeks later in a program, one NASA engineer is coming, who is an Indian, a successful Indian, my own student. So they are all giving their own life to the place of their stay. At the same time, their own teaching, training, value of life they carry forward. They are all from India. So coming to a concluding statement from Mr. Farsu, in what way all this thing will go forward? What way all these things are going forward? That will India to our other countries, people like you are all there in terms of startup and entrepreneurship and IT. We will not take it in this last phase, please.
Actually, we are on the right track. All our Indians are moving forward, and it will take time, but we are moving forward in the right direction. And once the momentum has started, once it gets going, then obviously there will be lots of opportunity for all of us. Now, so far we had some, it's like underdog impression, but now we are not. People have realized not only in IT but in terms of the medical. And what is the best Indian government has done? They gave the all this vaccine to world without free of charge, without any cost, and that has brought the image of India boosted to higher. And that's a way because it earns lots of. Vaccine was the only one point, but that reflects the respect to the rest of the whole community and whole sector as an Indian, that the people look upon us with the respect that we are the actual force, working force in apart from the Western world. China, we have our own way of uh, approach and energy and solution for the world. And we are very competitive as well. And that's the way we have to move forward. So, and our youngsters are, yeah, they are fantastic. They are doing a fantastic job. And sometimes the technology is like a friend of mine is in the UK. He is an IT contractor. He was telling me that he got a contract. By the time he finished the contract, the 28 people of working there, they will not be needed anymore. They will be the jobs will be disappear, including his own job. But in such a scenario, how we can develop our technology and etc. and we can approach. That's what we have to keep exploring, and we have to keep bringing new ideas to some because we cannot live in the past because well, what was like in the beginning, Akramji says that we have to he he spent more than 100,000 rupees for the computer, and then he discovered that it can be done. So everything is shrinking. See, now that you have to sit in front of the television and everything else, and now you can't. You can just work from the smartphone as well. So these are and the technology can be used by anybody across the uh, from a very uneducated person to very educated people. So the sky is the limit for us, and we have very good. The only people might be able to compete with us is China, but China's biggest setback is their language because to control the people, not to uh, let them know what is going on in the outside world, and that's why they never implemented the English. Okay, and now second generation is trying to learn and everything fine, but we have knowingly, unknowingly, we had a history of 250 years with the British government, and the English has taken as an international language. So we have a upper hand compared to anybody else. So we had to let us make what we have move forward rather than thinking anything else. I think our children, our new generations are really, really switched on. Really.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you. I think well said as a concluding remark. Now, Ms. Balayogi, your concluding remarks, please.
Yeah, actually, the most important thing for anybody, either in business or outside, is to keep abreast about the happenings around the world. So, especially the people in business, if they watch the news on a regular basis, on a day-to-day basis, they can prepare themselves for certain things. For example, IT and tourism industry of India has a huge potential in the new canal which Israel is planning to build, because that requires a lot of manpower, lot of technologies, lot of domains which have to fall in place, because they are going to build a canal which is twice the size of Suez Canal. It's going to cut short the distance between the Asian Pacific Sea and the Mediterranean. So that is going to be a huge project. Similarly, any of the economic projects, there is a huge potential. Now that the entertainment industry is also technology based, fully technology based, and the data collection is, if Akram is there, I want to tell him. See, if the data collection is all in all platforms, it's only through aggregation. No single individual sits and writes like a Victor Hugo or Shakespeare. It is through aggregation. So India has got a lot of youth, and India's potential in every nook and corner. Dr. Sekhar has written some 80 books about every state and district. So now there are many data centers, many data grabbing youngsters who will be willing. If you just assign them a particular village and ask them to give all the information about the village, they'll be able to give. Then that way, the Indian administrators, everybody will know the potential in terms of human resources, the natural resources, the production capacity, manufacturing capacity, skill sets, everything from each and every place. And this will also add to the tourism potential. So there are multiple factors on which there is a huge opportunity. In fact, it is actually misnomer to say that the jobs will get shrink because of the technology. In fact, it is going to expand because technology doesn't operate on its own. It needs enablers to get it started and get it running, up and running. So that way, I think this reincarnation and resurgence of economy is going to definitely take place with the improved image of the India and the world's latest statistics. FDI is maximum coming into India. The only thing is this regulations aspect, because of certain various factors, we are a bit very strict. That has to be slightly loosened up so that the regulatory kill is not felt by the investors from overseas. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, to give my concluding remarks for closing it. So, startup and entrepreneurs, along with IT, are going to play a huge role. And today, as we discussed, one good person from expert from India and one from UK, there's also going to be a lot of multilateralism in this. That means an expert in India, entrepreneur in India, or startup in India, can tie up right at the day one with a facilitator like Farsu in UK. And same thing can be reversed. Maybe his own son may be doing something and he may get Bala as the facilitator to market or support the systems in India. Because nothing is going to be unilateral. I do and you take is not going to be the future. And like Balayogi pointed out, India has proven itself in a big way in some of the biggest industries in entertainment, sports, and all. That means we are not second to somebody. And like Farsu pointed out, the vaccine and others have brought huge amount of goodwill to India because of the way it has been done, the way it is being respected, the way it has been distributed free. India is more famous for taking things free from other countries. For last many years, India avoided, even during calamities, India said no outside interference, we will take care of ourselves. Now we are giving to others in terms of this. And in these, every small bits of it, there could be entrepreneurship development, there could be startups who will take care. And then with that, I will conclude today's program and thanking both the speakers. And on behalf of Unleashing India Policy Times, we would like to continue to keep this trend of bringing experts from India, from abroad, from various on various topics, and keep the national, international flags flying, and giving the message to the world that yes, there are experts who are there to take care. In spite of COVID, in spite of its devastating effect, there will always be reincarnation, and like our friend Balayogi said, there will be rejuvenation along with reincarnation to keep the world a happy place to live in. And we need to live, we need to leave a good legacy of a good place for our future generation. Thank you so much.